Previously from The Hood Blogger.
Get you in the jam because most people are not blessed enough to get out of the situation that they was in, let alone be successful. Yo, this SV Twiz, the Hood Blogger. You already know how I carry it. Crazy weekend in the city of Philly. While some people was out enjoying cookouts with their family and enjoying their time off from work, others was out dodging bullets. I remember a point in time in Philly where we was able to enjoy stuff like the Greek, and even if you was to go to Penn's Landing for 4th of July and watch the fireworks, all of that seemed to be over, bro. You know what I'm saying? Anytime there's some type of get together or celebration, somebody always gotta come and, air the whole situation out. Let's not include the block parties we used to be able to enjoy. It's pretty much a wrap for that. But today, we're going to talk about the massacre that happened in Fairmount Park, bro, over Memorial Day weekend. 2 people lost their life and 9 others was wounded. The victims that got their life taken has been identified as 23-year-old Amaya Devlin and 21-year-old Mikal Bowers. Philadelphia, 2 people lost their lives. 9 others were wounded after a mass shooting in Philadelphia's Fairmount Park late night Monday. Remind you, this was around 10:30 at night. And on top of that, it was a lot of teenagers out there. So before I continue, I just gotta say, man, we gotta move smoother out here, bro. If we going out to enjoy these situations as adults, because from my understanding, it was like a car meet or something like that. Bro, don't be bringing your son, your nephew, your little cousin that's 13, 14, because it's a high percentage that, smoke might be let loose out that joint. So the victims that lost their life include a man and an adult woman. The victims, who were ranging in age from 15 to 28 years old, of all whom are in stable condition at area hospitals. The gunfire erupted around 10:27 Monday on Lemon Hill Drive at Popular Drive. Mayor Cheryl Parker said during the news conference on Tuesday that they were believed to be 3 shooters involved. No one is in custody. Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel said Tuesday that investigators are confident that at least one of the weapons used in the shooting had a device known on it as a switch, which allows a semi-automatic weapon to become fully automatic. We will not be held hostage by anyone who decides that they want to get assault-like, warlike weaponry, guns and switches, Parker said. Bethel says there are usually a lot of people in the park when it gets warm, especially on the holiday, and that officers were managing crowds all over the city. The shooting occurred despite officers' presence in the park, Bethel said. As you can see, out Philly, they don't care that it's cops. It was cops on the scene just because of the time it was and the traffic that it was. Like I said, from my understanding, it was like some type of car meet or something like that.
Others injured in Fairmount Park.
Hundreds of people were in the park when these shots were fired. Police say the shooting happened around 10:30 last night on Lemon Hill Drive at Poplar Drive. Investigators say they believe up to 3 shooters were involved.
Now, police did announce a new strategy for preventing this type of violence at a news conference that took place this morning. Action News reporter Annie McCormick live for us inside of Philadelphia City Hall with the latest on this. Annie?
Yeah, John, and during that news conference, Philadelphia police updating us, saying that they now believe that this was the work of 3 different shooters. They're saying that they believe that after recovering about 21 shell casings from different types of weapons. At this point, they do believe in total 11 people were struck by gunfire. Like you said, we're inside City Hall right now because of that press conference that the city leaders had a short time ago.
But let me be absolutely clear today. As your mayor, I want to affirm to all of Philadelphia on today that there are no excuses for this. This is a heinous act of violence that was inhumane. No regard for life.
Now, reports of people shot started flooding in at around 10:30 last night near the Lemon Hill Mansion, a popular area just a short walk from Kelly Drive and also Boathouse Road. Appears that it happened up around the Hill area by the mansion. Now, police who were already in the area kept coming across more victims as the chaos unfolded. So far, police say 11 people were struck by gunfire. 3 are teenagers, ages 15, 16, and 17. The remaining 8 victims are adults. We are told that 2 of them have died, a male and female. Police are also looking into how this crash Hyundai was involved and whether any victims were inside. Here's what the police commissioner said a short time ago.
As a result of that, I've directed my team to increase our posture in the park. Starting this weekend, we will develop a deployment plan that puts us into the park, not to be going after permits and that type of activity, but more importantly, to keep up with the intelligence. Right now, the intelligence is coming through our portal. It's not fast enough. We need to evolve, and so we're going to be putting in a number of different law enforcement assets into the park to identify activity ahead with the hope that we can stave off these activities before they occur.
Now, leaders also did talk about several big events that are coming up, including the Roots Picnic that is this weekend, saying that they are prepared.
Bethel said his team will be coming up with a plan to put more officers in the park so they can put a stop to potential incidents before they get out of control. Right now, intelligence coming through our portal is not fast enough. We need to evolve. So we're going to be putting law enforcement assets into the park to identify activity ahead with the hope that we can stave off these activities before they occur, Bethel said. Police are also looking into how a Hyundai was involved. Basically, a Hyundai crash was involved and whether the victims were inside. They are also going to be looking into reports of 911 calls earlier in that night about disturbances around the park. So obviously people was arguing and having situations in that park. Remind you, this is a park where, tourists come to. You got like the lighthouses and all of that. It's like right there where Kelly Drive at. And, they got the mansion that was, I believe built in like 1776 or something like that. So, people come from around the world to, go to that area. They ride the canoes and all that stuff. They go enjoy the lighthouses and all of that. And these is just a list of the people, who also got hit out there. They don't release no names, but they say, a 15-year-old boy was hit in the thigh, a 16-year-old girl was hit in the thigh, a 17-year-old girl was hit in the leg, an 18-year-old woman was shot in the head, a 19-year-old woman was shot in the foot, another 19-year-old woman was shot in the hand, 20-year-old man was hit in the arm, a 23-year-old woman was hit in the nose, a 28-year-old man was hit in the arm. Now, that's just a list of the people that survived that night. And, another thing that was crazy was it was a lot of people there that was, putting stuff on social media as it was happening, whether they was driving past or whether they was at the incident. So, during this thing happening, it was people running their Instagram and stuff like that. So they had held a press conference and said, they basically paying attention to the stuff that people was posting on there. At the end of the day, you should be trying to get up out that situation, trying to get away from that. That ain't time to pull your camera out. It only take a second, for a bullet to fly your direction. Remind you, it was dark out there. So they said it was allegedly, 3 shooters. So they come out there letting off them switches. Anybody could get hit. Anybody can get hit. And we know these events, people get drunk and they on whatever shot they on, and start snapping. So that's basically was, part of Philadelphia, Memorial Day weekend. Like I said, this just happened last night around 10:30, man. Condolences to the victims that lost their lives. Like I said, we got to stop bringing our little cousins and young boys and all that out to these events, man. So many teenagers got hit out there, but this SB Twiz the Hood blogger, man. Y'all know how I carry it.